Hey everybody, it's Fernando and I am back with another cooking video. This dish that I'm making was inspired by a friend of mine, Lindsay. Thank you for the recipe. And it's oxtail stew. And I've never had oxtail before. I've never cooked it, of course, so I want to do that so I can try it. I want to up my culinary game, so I want to start cooking things that I've never cooked before. And so I'd like for you guys to join me. Thanks. So here we have about 5 pounds of oxtail, and if you've never heard of oxtail is actually cow tail. So, but it's called cow oxtail. So it sounds kind of weird because you think that it's going to be coming from an ox, but it's actually a cow. So here's a small piece of it, and then they gradually get larger. It has a bone through it. I've already seasoned it with salt, pepper, and allspice. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and sear it in a hot pan. I'm getting the oil hot, and the way that I know the oil's hot is it starts to ripple. If you can see it there, you can see that it's starting to ripple. So that's how I know that it's pretty hot and it's ready for me to go ahead and start searing. So they're done searing on one side, so I'm going to turn it over completely. I want to make sure that all sides are completely seared. Ooh, that's pretty. It smells so good. Alright, so everything is browned just the way I want it. It looks beautiful. So I'm going to set this aside for right now. Now the recipe calls for about 1.5 cups to 2 cups of red wine. I've got a Cabernet here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and heat it up first. I just want to, basically what I'm going to do is I want to cook out the alcohol just to make sure that there's no alcohol in here, because I don't want it to be alcohol-y tasting. I just want to be able to taste the actual flavor of the Cabernet grapes. So go ahead and let this heat up a little bit. Now I saw another YouTuber actually burn the alcohol off with a lighter. So I want to go ahead and try that. So, alright, so I have my lighter here. It burned! It's burning! You can see. That is really cool. Okay, so we're going to let this cook a little bit more. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer it to a crock pot, and I'm going to add some beef stock to it. I'm going to let it cook overnight because I want the oxtails to be super tender. Alright, my wine has been cooked, so I'm going to go ahead and pour that in first. Next, I'm going to go ahead and put in 2 cups. You know what, actually, I'm going to use just the whole box of beef stock in here. So let me go ahead and do that. And also, I actually preheated this as well on low. Next, I am going to drop in my oxtail. Hopefully there's enough room in here. Here I have a bundle of additional spices that I'm going to throw in there. I have parsley, rosemary, and bay leaves. Basically, I just wrapped them all up and tied them together and throw in there. That's what Lindsay says to do. So I'll go ahead and I'm going to throw that in here now. I also have about 4 cloves of garlic that I'm going to throw in here. Now I'm just going to cover it up, and what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and saute some onions until they're translucent, and then I'm going to throw them in there. Alright, so my onions are about ready. I don't want to overcook them or burn them, so I'm going to go ahead and throw them in. Oh my god, they smell so good. And I cooked these onions in the leftover oil that I cooked the oxtail in. So normally I would just dump the whole thing in, but I don't want to put all this oil into the stew here. So that's all for tonight. I'm going to let this cook overnight, and then in the morning I'm going to take out the oxtails and pull the meat off of it, and then we'll finish up the rest of the recipe. The recipe also calls for carrots, celery, and I think I'm going to throw some potatoes in there too. We have some potatoes that I want to go ahead and use before they go bad. And we're back. Good morning, everybody. It's 5 o'clock this morning, so the oxtails have been bubbling and turning in the crock pot all night. So now, the whole house smells so good. Shane's making his coffee this morning, so that's what you hear right now. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take these out, and I'm going to pull the meat off the bone. And then I'm going to go back to bed. So here we go. I removed all the oxtails from the crock pot, so now I'm going to go ahead and debone them. But as you can see here, the meat is literally just falling off the bone. That's what we want, ladies and gentlemen. And it smells so wonderful in here. Look at that. Just so tender. And if you're wondering if it tastes as good as it looks, yes it does. So now I'm going to go ahead and remove the meat from the bone. I finished pulling the meat off the bone. Here's the bone. And here's the fat. That is a ton of fat. If I were making this for myself, I would have left all that fat on there because I love it. I love fat and I love gristle. But Shane can't deal with it. So I pulled all that off. This is what's left. And I'm just going to go ahead and put this in the refrigerator until I'm ready to put it all together for dinner tonight. I'm going to put it back in the crock pot later with carrots, celery, and potato. And that'll be that. And then I'm going to cook a pot of rice. And we're going to have that as a side. I will see you a little bit later when we wrap everything up. Hey everybody, back again for the next part. I'm just sauteing carrots and celery before I throw them back into the crock pot and just let this cook, and then pretty much it's done. I just got to cut up some potatoes and throw them in there as well, and we're good to go. I'll show you the final piece. We're almost done, I promise. So see you in a little bit. Alright everybody, here is the done deal. This is the oxtail stew, and here's about 6 cups of rice, and I cooked it in a rice cooker. If you don't have a rice cooker, then you need to get your life right. Alright everybody, well, this is the finished product. So that is it. I want to thank you all for watching. One other thing, I just want to thank everybody for their kind words and their condolences with regards to Cloverfield. Thank you everybody for your concern, and I really do appreciate it. And but that's all. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and I'll talk to you later.